Picture yourself in the grey dawn of 1952, somewhere along the frozen Chosin Reservoir, or huddled in a foxhole on the Korean peninsula. The ground beneath you is harder than iron, the wind cuts through every layer you own, and your survival depends on a single roll of canvas strapped to your pack. This is the story of the Cold War bedroll, not just a piece of equipment, but a lifeline that separated those who endured from those who didn't. For the soldiers of the mid-20th century, from the battlefields of Korea to the tense borders of divided Europe, the bedroll represented something profound, the promise that no matter how hostile the world became, you carried your shelter, your warmth, and your small piece of home on your back. The Cold War bedroll evolved from decades of hard-won knowledge, forged in the trenches of 2 world wars and perfected in the unforgiving theatres of Korea and beyond. The American M1935 system, still in wide use through the 1950s and 60s, was built from heavy cotton canvas treated with paraffin wax, creating a barrier against moisture that could mean the difference between hypothermia and survival. When a soldier unfurled this 7-foot length of weathered canvas, he wasn't just unpacking gear. He was deploying a complete sleep system that weighed roughly 15 pounds but carried the wisdom of countless frozen nights. Inside that tightly wound cylinder lived 2 olive-drab wool blankets, each weighing 4 pounds and capable of retaining warmth even when soaked through. The genius lay in the modularity. During summer patrols through the humid jungles of Southeast Asia, a soldier might carry just 1 blanket. Come winter exercises in the German countryside, he'd add every layer the system allowed, sometimes supplementing with a shelter half or poncho for additional protection. The ritual of preparing a bedroll became as automatic as loading a rifle. Before darkness fell, whether in a hastily dug fighting position or a temporary bivouac behind the lines, soldiers would scout for the driest ground available, often scraping away snow or clearing debris with an entrenching tool. The canvas would be spread fully open, its waterproof surface creating a crucial barrier between the soldier and the cold earth that would leach away body heat with ruthless efficiency. Wool blankets were then positioned in the center, and here the art of the bedroll revealed itself. Veterans learned to fold 1 blanket into thirds lengthwise, creating an insulated sleeping pad that protected from below, while the second blanket served as a covering. Personal items, a mess kit, spare socks dried against the body during the day, perhaps a paperback novel or letters from home, would be tucked into the head area, creating a makeshift pillow while keeping essentials from freezing solid. Then came the wrap. The soldier would lie at the foot of the spread canvas and methodically roll the entire system around himself, cocooning his body in layers of wool and waterproof shell. Leather straps, worn smooth by countless repetitions, would secure the bundle, and ventilation was maintained by leaving the head area slightly open, preventing the dangerous accumulation of moisture from breath that could freeze against fabric and steal precious warmth. What separated those who merely survived from those who thrived in the field was understanding that the bedroll was never just for sleeping. Soviet soldiers on winter exercises in Siberia taught their Western counterparts a grudging lesson. The bedroll could become an emergency stretcher, 2 men carrying a wounded comrade by gripping the straps at either end. In the mountainous terrain of Korea, American infantrymen discovered that an unfurled bedroll, weighted with stones at the corners, created an effective windbreak when established perpendicular to prevailing winds, turning an exposed ridge into a, well, marginally tolerable position. The waterproof canvas served as a field-expedient roof when draped over a hastily constructed A-frame of branches, while its durability allowed soldiers to drag it across rough terrain when gathering firewood or foraging, protecting gathered materials from ground moisture. The British, drawing on generations of colonial campaigning, maintained the practice of airing bedrolls whenever sun broke through, understanding that moisture was the silent enemy that degraded insulation and promoted the growth of mildew that could render a bedroll useless within weeks of continuous field use. Today, as modern bushcraft enthusiasts and preparedness-minded individuals seek authentic knowledge, the Cold War bedroll offers lessons that really transcend its historical context. In an age of specialized gear and technical fabrics, there's profound wisdom in a system that, prioritizes durability, repairability, and multifunctionality over minimal weight. The bedroll reminds us that survival often comes down to understanding principles rather than just accumulating equipment, that wool insulates when wet, that waterproof barriers prevent ground moisture transfer, and that modularity allows adaptation to changing conditions. These soldiers, carrying their fortresses on their backs across frozen mountains and steaming jungles, mastered the art of making do, of maintaining effectiveness with simple tools, of finding comfort and security in the most austere circumstances. Their fieldcraft wasn't about conquering nature, but rather about respectful coexistence, working within its constraints rather than against them. If you found value in this exploration of forgotten military fieldcraft, subscribe to Fieldcraft Chronicles and hit that notification bell. Share this video with anyone who understands that true preparedness comes from learning the hard-won lessons of those who came before. History isn't just about remembering, it's about applying timeless wisdom to our modern challenges. Until next time, stay prepared, stay humble, and honor the knowledge that was earned in the hardest classrooms imaginable.